Szép jó napot kívánok! Ez itt a Green Talk, a HUGBC Green Talkja. Engedjék meg, hogy bemutatkozzam, Hegedűs Éva vagyok, a HUGBC ügyvezető titkára, és a mai Green Talk házigazdája. A mai Green Talkunk vendége Killmann, de mielőtt átadnám neki a szót, szeretnék egy picit arról beszélni, hogy ma hogyan megy ez a Green Talk. 1 óra időtartamú lesz, az előadó egy 30 perces prezentációt fog tartani, és utána önöknek 30 percük lesz arra, hogy kérdéseket tegyenek fel, illetve hozzászóljanak a témához. A kérdéseket egyébként az előadás alatt folyamatosan várjuk a Q&A ablakba. Az általános és technikai megjegyzéseiket kérjük, hogy a chat ablakba írják be, amit a HUGBC felé szeretnének, és próbáljuk a technikai dolgokat orvosolni, hogyha van olyan. Szeretném önöket tájékoztatni, hogy a hallgatóság a teljes Green Talk alatt néma üzemmódban lesz, és arról, hogy az eseményről felvétel készül, amely utólag természetesen visszanézhető. A mai előadás nyelve angol, úgyhogy engedjék meg, hogy angolul folytassam. So our lecturer today is Killmann. He is the managing director of the GBCI Europe. And he is going to speak about a very important thing today, which is over the past 2 decades, sustainability has strongly influenced and changed the real estate industry. Certification system and their evaluation criteria must support an increasing range of requirements that include portfolio management, financing, annual reporting of corporate ESG data, and more. Learn how LEED, the world's most widely used rating system and established benchmark in the European real estate market, has adapted and embraces this ongoing evolution. So, Kay, I give you the screen.
Thank you, Helga. Thank you, Hungarian Green Building Council, for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to share a little bit of background and future to come from LEED, but also a little bit insights from the European perspective, as well as from the Hungarian market. And that's how I want to start it. Again, my name is Killmann. I'm the head of Europe for GBCI, Green Business Certification, Inc. I'm overseeing the European business development. We are located here in Munich, Germany. That's the office. And some of you might know that GBCI, as a third-party verification body, has a few more benchmarks. Today we're going to talk about LEED, and LEED is globally the most applied benchmark. But over the years, there are many additional segments that have been added, or where the market actually needed benchmarks. So some of you might have heard about WELL. The emerging markets Edge is coming. True is the zero waste system. ParkSmart, sustainable sites for parks. So just for you to be able to navigate, and all of those are being administered and verified through us. So with this being said, I want to dive right into talking about LEED. LEED stands for Leadership in Energy Environmental Design. You have quite a couple of highly professional consultants in Hungarian market, working also internationally. And of course, as well, you're serving clients that are asking for this tool. LEED is global. You find LEED certified projects in over 180 countries around the globe. So in Europe, we are approximately 18 years present throughout projects. So what brought us here? How did we manage this? How did the market got penetrated? Take a look back. We saw the first popping up in Europe around 2006. The first LEED certified building globally were seen in 1999, 2000. So, and then you see over the years, it's basically a continuous growth, almost linear. The one thing I would like to point out is the white pieces on the bars. These are recertification. This is something that we are driving. We want to see this continuing evaluation of your sustainable benchmarks, in our case, through LEED. And there are a few factors that come into play. So I'll dive into it and address this a little bit later. So just for this year, we do see similar growth and demand. We are currently about 1,200 registrations across Europe. That means these are LEED projects that are in the pipelines, and based on which scheme you are, projects can be done in 6 months to 2 years. So just to give you an idea, that is ongoing, and some of you might be involved in this with registration. How does Hungary look in specific? So within Europe, you are currently ranked number 13. These data are pulled last week. World rank 39. You are a small country. You can see on the right side, the hotspot is, of course, Budapest, but you also see you have LEED certifications throughout your countries, and you do have not too many major cities. So, but that is an indicator that clients are using it, let it be as part of their assets portfolio, or if there are individuals that say, this is now a best practice management tool, I need to somehow prove sustainability. You can drill even farther, where we currently in Hungary with certifications of this year, 8 that is, and you can also then reflect on this based on the type, new construction, interior, or operation maintenance. So you do see the shares new construction, but you have also big retail, interior design, and O&M almost on pair. And the main achievement or goal is gold certification level. That is an indicator of aspiration, let it be of the client or the standards. Now, just for those of you who are not daily working with LEED, I want to just elaborate a little bit the system itself on a very high level. And then, of course, for you to be able to continue discussion with us or with consultants. There is a LEED for every building. That's what I like to say. It's a little bit like Lego. We have a solution for every type of occupancy, for every client. The core segment is office use, office occupancy, but you have also laboratories, manufacturing, schools, retail, hospitals, hospitality, data center, logistic warehouses. There's everything possible. And mentioning Lego, they just certified last year one of their new hotel and conference centers in Billund, looking right now into potentially rolling and addressing some sort in their Lego retail stores. If you take a look at their lifestyle from the lifestyle perspective, life cycle perspective, you have, and I mentioned this already, BD&C, the new construction on your left. Picture this a new 10-story building, whatever, built brand new. You have an interior possibility that would be a potential client, a tenant that moves into this 10-story. But also, let's say this is a mall, and then you have tenants. As soon as a building moves into the operation, into the existing status, and is operating for 12 months, it becomes an existing building from our perspective, and we call this O&M, operation and maintenance. And we have solutions for urban developments, LEED for cities, communities, and the neighborhood development, as well as residential. The LEED levels that can be achieved, certification levels, reach from certified, silver, gold, platinum, and it's based on a point system that these points tie into categories with credits that then unfold. I'll give you a brief glimpse on this. The evolution of a rating system, and from our perspective, from LEED, brought us at one point to need, or the market needs to be able to measure and validate an actual performance. When LEED was originally created, it was more a prescriptive pathway finding a benchmark, creating a benchmark. And this is still true for new construction projects, but as soon as you have a building that is operating, you have data. Your building lives, you have tenants, you have consumption data basically every month available. And that's something that should be used to analyze performance, not only sustainability performance, but reusing this. And that was the idea behind developing ARC. The ARC platform, I believe, is right now around for more than 6 years ago. With ARC, you also are able to manage portfolios tied to CO2 reporting. And the ARC platform is also embedded in our urban tools, city or community level. I just last week was in Milano, Italy, and joined a plaque ceremony for City Life. They successfully achieved LEED for community, existing community, a well for existing community, and the site certification, a triple certification. So just to give you a little background, ARC is agnostic. That means everybody could use ARC without the aspiration of certifying to LEED. So if you have your Hungarian Green Building Council headquarter and you have the water and energy data, you could actually tie this data in, feed them in today into the ARC platform, and it would create a score, a performance score from 1 to 100. As soon as you feed data in, it creates a score at least 1. So, and it's not like in the old days where we forced everything on you. We want to help you to incrementally understand your assets, your portfolio, if you have. So energy, water, waste data should be available, but this is the challenge throughout the industry, having data, organizing data, and reading data in the right way. So these are the 5 KPIs, performance-based nature within the ARC platform that then eventually tie into LEED if you'd like, and I'll walk you through. I mentioned the portfolio management. That's the real thought behind it. We want clients to use ARC not just for one building, use it for all of their assets. And that's the picture before pushing immediately for certification. Many clients are not ready to go that step. And if you have a portfolio of 1,000, 2,000 assets, we are well aware that you might not certify 2,000 assets. But we also know that you, if you're a large corporate, as an example, you need to report. And that's a mechanism to support you. At the beginning, it might just be energy. It might just be water. But then you can build up on this, you strategize. Let it be over a 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, and along comes budgeting. What are we doing with some assets that don't perform? What if you get into this sales side, somebody want to buy something? How do we prove green due diligence? The other thing is, and I'm hovering over the top left, you can toggle this view from what I just had on the screen with this nice color space and categories into the carbon. That is even more of a fundamental data point that corporates, companies look for their eventually reporting process that ties even farther in the bigger picture here in Europe into the decarbonization process that the European Commission is targeting by 2050 being the first carbon neutral region. And this might even be in a faster pace in each country. In Germany, they're talking about 2045. So you can then extract from the data provided carbon by square meters or by occupants. Just to compile this for a little bit. So you have new construction, IDNC, interior design, you get your certificate. It's pretty much your car, you buy it, you have the sticker of the year on it, you certify, and then you have the opportunity to recertify to continue this process. Because if you want to sell your project that was built in 2015, now 2023, then it's a used project and you need to maintain them. So this is one perspective. The other perspective is if you finance your building with green bonds, the lender probably wants to see your commitment and proof that you're continuing your sustainability. criteria, because you're not financing for 2 years, you're probably financing for 10, 20, 40 years. So the other thing is any building can start with an O&M certification as long as you have data for 12 months. Just be aware, O&M certificates are only valid for 3 years. Again, you will not lose your sticker with the first year. And back to the car, this is when you bought it, when you built it first, this is your inspection sticker, and with LEED it's every 3 years. I'd like to give you a little excursus green building and ESG, since that is the topic, and there's a lot of confusion, a lot of half knowledge, and we actually believe as GBCI we need to make sure the participants in the market, consultants, clients, lenders, they all understand, and to a certain extent we feel we are a translator, translating different languages and angles. So if you are an owner of any large companies, you are interested if this company is operating to the greater good, of course, is financially solid, successful, but also for all of your members. So almost every large corporation has assets, is a real estate owner. If you're a car manufacturer, you have plants. If you manufacture anything else, or if you are a large company, a consultancy, you occupy spaces or even own buildings. And that's where green building comes into. This is part of your annual reporting, and these data will become more important, and it moves up on the C-suite level, meaning the CEO and the CFO will become more and more interested in this, because they will hold liable and responsible for this. And that's important for those consultants that come purely from a technical angle to understand this. On the other hand, it's important for a fund manager that they need to talk all the way down to the asset manager and get the data from the buildings, the individual assets. So governance, ESG goals, and practices that are being introduced on a corporate level go all the way down to one extent to single assets. And it's the same direction, the opposite way. Asset management, energy consumption, water, what type of energy, commuter behavior, this all feeds into eventually the corporate reporting, because you can extract scope 1, scope 2 emissions. We're seeing an increasing component of the social performance. And that is needs to be understood. If you go on the purely E level of the ESG, and that's where ARC supports it heavily, you have these traditional data points, just exemplary energy, greenhouse gas emission, water, waste, gas, all these components LEED asks for. You could envision this on the right side. Yeah, this is the building level. That's what we deal when we do a LEED certification. They ask us, is it meters, what are water, indoor water, outside water, what type of energy do I have, what are the emissions factors? If you go on a corporate level, you have similar needs and it just higher elevation. You want to know this for all of your assets, and then it gets quantified and reported. And that's where understanding LEED as a framework, but also utilizing ARC as a digital platform is instrumental for a professional consultant. And that's why I'm happy that I can share this knowledge with you, so help you, Hungarian Green Building Council, but also your clients and your members to be successful. Because then it ties into these other benchmark and rating system on the corporate level. Within the real estate industry, the most known here in Europe is GRESB. There's, for instance, a direct connectivity. You can push and pull data from ARC. GRESB asks you, is a building an asset certified? What is the water consumption? What is the water? With a different weighting, of course. With this, I want to move on. Here in Europe, I see us as one of these leading regions across the globe, and the United States Green Building Council has understood that. Over the last 2 years, I've been pushing hard to implement EU taxonomy criteria somehow in LEED. And earlier this year in May, we announced that there is a pilot credit. We had issued a white paper before, so every LEED project can activate this pilot credit. There's a questionnaire embedded. The entry there is via ARC, and you can then upload it within the innovation criteria list. And then we are doing the alignment review. Do the documents that you provided match with the criteria? And this becomes a report. And this is an additional value for the project, is of no additional charge. So that's where we already are. This is existing. Now, in September, I was at Greenbuild USA in Washington, and there are a few things that have been announced. And there's a lot of development currently going on, and looking forward to East and calm. So one thing is that we need to drive performance at scale. We also need to drive this sustainability in a much larger scale, a different mechanism. One thing is also tying this ESG into the green building certification. Many of these organizations that discuss ESG are only at the beginning point, especially if you move away from these large global corporates. They are not aligned. Everybody is creating a few of their own things. So we are currently testing with 7 global corporations and portfolio accelerator pilot. It's an instrument that allows an organization to structure their ESG strategy, have it planned together with us, have a framework, and then start assessing this. And we are then becoming a verification body for their performance. This is an internal one. This is something each company or corporate can choose if they want to. This is not meant to compare different companies. So it's really, we see this amount of startups that offering services that can lead to confusion. So that is one thing. The other thing, and the more exciting thing, or with more magnitude looking in the future, is of course we released the draft of LEED version 5. We're currently having LEED version 4 and 4.1 on the market already for a longer time. And in September, V5 was released as a beta and as a discussion point, as a draft document. When you design and create this rating system, you have a few major points that you need to consider. Of course, what's the market? How far ahead can you move without losing the market? But you still want to be the innovator, and you want to be the global innovator. Also have the agenda has shifted, and with LEED V5, the new system goals, the fundamental system goals will circle around of course, climate action, quality of life, and the ecological conservation restoration. Now, along with these major goals come the principles of the future LEED. What are the future LEED LEED's core principles? So you have the decarbonization, adaptive and resilient design, health and well-being, diversity, equity, and inclusivity, and regenerative design. This is already a big thing. Many designers, architects are looking, what can we do? The next step, regeneration. The announcement addressed released the V5 version for existing buildings. Existing buildings is the major market, and using benchmark certification schemes are fully underutilized for this segment. And we need to push this further. For those of you who worked with LEEDs in the past, LEED, in the beginning I'll show you the goals, gold, silver, based on points. The major categories look like this. You have these 8 categories: sites, location, water, energy, materials, resources, environment, quality, and so on. If you now unfold this in the new V5 scorecard with this traditional view, if I may call it, then it looks a little bit like this. So there is not, from the layout, not much change per se. You can still navigate. This is a draft document. We are still debating. Maybe we should ask the credit number spec as we had in version 2.2. But the bigger changes, and that ties into the discussion with speaking the same language with the client, is that in line with our system goals, climate action, quality of life, ecological conservation, restoration, you will be able to toggle this scorecard. This will allow you to address key criteria, key targets, let it be of a client, of an entire fund, or on a single asset level much better. Because clients say, what's the climate action? They don't understand individual LEED credit. So that's a way where we think adjusting the language, trying to speak the same language, and then educating everybody around it is the real additional value and service that needs to happen. Now, taking our system goals and the future of LEED and meshing this together will then eventually create the LEED criteria list. This is just a grid, but these things will be picked up in the credit and prerequisites. So where we believe existing building certification should go is plan, act, and perform. So these are the major steps that you can, together with your team, with your facility management, plan the strategic approach on ongoing certification performance measurement. You can implement these strategies and lay them out as far as climate goals, but also weave in financial or legal requirements, and then continue to measure the performance over time. Projects and parameters for LEED projects is, of course, the decarbonization supporting the strategy, especially here in Europe. We already had and have a module called LEED Zero. So, and some of you might have looked into it. Currently, you have the module LEED Zero for operational zero, meaning your building is operating. Once you feed data in for 12 months, you can certify it to LEED Zero to 4 different categories: carbon, energy, water, and waste. So that's currently existing, and we are working on an zero readiness for BD and C and IDNC, so that you have an easier later to continue this, also addressing in-depth material life cycle analysis. Some key points here for LEED Zero Carbon, where we are going, is graphic just wants to show you a few things that I want you to take along. Of course, embodied carbon, that's the BD&C. Once you build, that's where you set goals. Once it's in there, it remains, and then you can only adjust this with operational margin. Refrigerants, non-combustions, you already have under current LEED version 4. Modeling a way to do this, to move into 100% energy based building or electrification, renewable energy in this discussion, and up from a certain level, here it says gold, a different approach. And of course, how does transportation, smart e-mobility tie into this? With this, I believe I'm exactly at 30 minutes on my clock. I will share this, and this is for your all use. Green Building Council, you can download or offer it for upload. I want to say thank you, Christina. And one thing, just as a postscript, please. We have in Europe one event, an annual event is our GBCI Europe Circle. Next year, this will take place in Athens, Greece, from April the 17th to the 19th. And we are just about to announce venues before Christmas, mid-December. We want to open the registration. Last year, we were sold out, and I had to turn people down, or we had to. So don't be shy. Put it in your budget to your manager. If you need to apply for travel budget, we'd love to see you. This is really a LEED community networking event. People enjoy it, and many consultants work together on clients across Europe. and the adjacent regions. So again, Helga, thank you very much. I'm ready for Q&A, or if not, then later on, follow up with me, please.
Thank you very much, Kai. And I can see that there is a question. So is it possible for you to answer it?
Let me just click this.
Yes. Now
Yes.
you're asking.
Oh, okay. The first question, yeah, and I didn't elaborate on this. I can explain that. You saw O&M certification is valid for 3 years. This one spike in 22, there was actually a Swedish developer. It's called Vasakronen. They are one of the first portfolio adapters in Europe, and they put their entire portfolio into LEED. And they were at this cycle where they had to recertify, and that spiked this large piece. So it becomes so apparent because there are not too many yet, but that was a big portfolio that was pushed through LEED for O&M recertification. And if we then see more and more organization doing this, this will become more subtle. But right now, this is very apparent. So that should answer the first question. Taxonomy pilot isn't double counting, then a taxonomy can overlap with normal credits. Probably yes, but this report can be used as an individual standalone document for you. So some clients say, okay, LEED certification is one thing, but we definitely need also this taxonomy document. So as far as technical explanation, it could be, not necessarily, because LEED sometimes speaks a different language, but from the technical background, yes. But on the other hand, you can take this taxonomy report, have it as standalone document, and add it to whoever has this interest. Let it be a part of the sales for reporting all these components. So that was question 2. Yes, 5v5. So I didn't put these slides in. In the future, the development cycle is anticipated to be every 5 years. That you can basically count that you will every 5 year a new V5 ratings, a V version of the rating system. Right now, it is anticipated that we have the BDNC draft language to be released in Q1 of 24. And the full rating system, since it needs to go through the ballot voting of the UCPC members, it's probably going to be by the end of 24 or early 25 that it is be fully available. Maybe the beta will come earlier. Right now, for O&M, we are testing 80 projects globally, and there was a call that closed, I believe it was the 30th of October, and we got 160 submittals globally, and I believe we have 8 European projects that were added to the pilot list that are currently piloting this. I would ask everybody who's involved in LEED, the rating guide is out for V5 O&M. Please read it. If we could somehow centralize this as the Hungarian Green Building Council, if there are comments, and play it to us, that's the market feedback we are needing, we're looking for. Oh, question coming in there. Very good. Is there another plan to boost the number of green raters in Europe who are needed for residential building LEED certification? Green raters, for those of you who are not familiar with this, this is the requirement for residential. If you use LEED for residential, please follow up on an email, Adrienne, because Michelle Schwarting in our office here in Munich, she is the expert on the residential, and she actually had quite a few calls. There were some adjustments to the rating system. They're still working on this. So green raters and assessors. I will put the email in the chat box before I leave this call today. So how could buildings renovation be pushed forward? Could rating system help retrofitting instead of new buildings? So the IDNC version allows you for existing, there's an O&M for interior fit outs. So this can be used and this can drive the performance of your space. As an example, we currently see a good pickup on retail. And that's interesting because in the past retailers said, oh, we're only leasing. But it has changed now. They're still leasing, but they still need to report their consumption, their performance, even on the lease space. Prada, Fendi, lots of the luxury brands actually do this and using LEED O&M for interior as an ongoing process. But we do see this throughout. So that can be fully used for an interior fit out, not only for retail, for everything. Next question, where do the benchmarks for the ARC score come from? Are they from US buildings or global? No, they are global. Everything that gets fed into ARC within your peer group basically creates the benchmark. It will improve over time when we update the version. If you're right now in ARC, I believe it asked you that in April will be a new version 3.3 of the ARC system. So, and then you play within your peers, offices versus offices. So that's where this ARC benchmark is created. The energy components, you have emission factors, for instance, you have the option to choose between standard from data from the International Energy Organization, or if you have the information, greenhouse gas emission values from your provider, you can manually add those to be more accurate. And one more question. LEED is less used in Hungary, Europe, because the US standard is using. Is there any aim to harmonize with EU standards? So I think that's not the only reason, but to answer this question, with LEED version 4, we have, I believe, an almost true international scheme. You have many ACPs embedded, alternative compliant path, and the language in credits is written in a way that it references international standard, ISO reference standards. And this makes it all of a sudden then an instrument that you can easily translate either to an Hungarian standard or to EN standard. So this is not necessarily true anymore. We see this pick up throughout. I believe in Hungary and other Eastern European regions that the growth of LEED to a certain extent has something to do with the presence of other systems that are less holistic, where you can have very single assessment points. Turn out, for instance, the operation and maintenance, only look at the dead building as some scheme do. So, and then it becomes a cost factor. But as we see that developer clients evolve and want to have more granular and detailed data available and more sophisticated and being able to report it, we see that all of a sudden the market is reevaluating them. How many of digital infrastructure do I need to add in order to achieve certification? So I believe that will change. And it is very different in each country. Very different. Poland, Romania, wherever you go, it depends then also new, existing. So that's a little bit the current status and scenario. But LEED is international, and if you look deeper into it, that will be able for you to compare, and B5 will even make it even more simple. So currently I don't see any other question. Helga, if you have any other, let me know. I want to type in the Michelle's email.
So may I ask our guests if there is any comment or any other questions? If no, then I say thank you to Kay. It was great, and it was a very valuable presentation. Thank you very much, and I inform you that we will share the ideas and the PPT if Kai says that it's okay.
Yes. So
thank you very much, and thank you, Kai, and have a very good week. And thank you for everybody to participate on this event. And I would like to inform you that our next event is going to be in January. So as we don't see each other until January, I wish you a Merry Christmas. We will let you know what is our next Green Talk will be about. And thank you for your participation, and goodbye.